Josh, if you had to sort of pare it down to a couple of different things, what would you say was the strength of the prosecution's case?
That montage does a really good job of showing how it really was this piecing together of this tapestry of the case, because you didn't have a direct witness, right? You didn't have someone who was able to say, I saw that individual fire shots into that person who ended up dead. So you really have to kind of piece it all together. And like I said, this tapestry that is laid out for the jurors in a way that they can understand it. And I think that's why that 2-hour verdict shows you that they did such a good job, because it wasn't like they had laid out the case and then had to explain it to them in closing argument. And then the jurors go back there and for the first time, they're kind of piecing it together. But however they laid this out through the testimony of several witnesses, it was convincing enough that I think those jurors probably knew where they were going even before closing arguments began. And that's the way it should be if you're doing a good job as a prosecutor and trial lawyer.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And they were even given the jury instructions over the weekend, so they couldn't discuss them, but they were able to go through them, figure some things out, and it was extensive. There were 18 charges they had to go through, because that alone would have taken 2 hours had they been just given them and had to go into the jury room, probably a lot more than 2 hours. So that certainly helped. Do you think sequestration played a role at all? Again, first of all, I'd love to get your thoughts on sequestering juries and how you think that affects your approach to a case and what effect it might have had on this case.
I'm not a huge fan of it. I think we put jurors through a lot. I think we're asking a lot of them to kind of put aside their jobs and their time and everything else. I think sequestration is kind of overreaching, but obviously it didn't bother the jurors here, especially when they're going 7 days a week and they were able to get through everything as quickly as they did. The judge, I think, did a fantastic job of cutting down as much of that inconvenience to the jurors as he could. I think, like you had mentioned earlier, it probably played a role in helping them to concentrate on all of this. And maybe in that small community, the judge was just so concerned about something slipping through on a cell phone. And we've heard about this before, where some push notification comes through on your phone, and those jurors might have been alerted to evidence that they should not have known about. I don't know if it was entirely necessary, but I'm not going to be a Monday morning quarterback on the whole thing. Obviously, it worked out.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I don't know if it was necessary to go that far, because and I'm sure you found the same thing that I found, that jurors, they listen to what you tell them to do. So if you tell them not to do something, chances are they'll listen. But again, not taking that chance, probably the right way to go.